Hi everyone, I am Nicole Gonzalez Vilos, the editor-in-chief at The Runner, and this is what you can expect from our latest issue.
For this issue's feature, I wrote about how KPU is improving accessibility on campus. Post-secondary education should be accessible for everyone, but for students with disabilities, this often means facing additional barriers when attending their classes. Accessibility challenges can include physical limitations on campus like stairs or manual doors, additional costs and services like health equipment, and a lack of services or programs at their post-secondary institution to support students in classes. However, the accessibility services at KPU offer various services and equipments to students with permanent disabilities or a combination of learning difficulties to achieve academic success. For this story, I talked to Joshua Mitchell, the Associate Vice President of Student Affairs, about how the university is updating KPU services for students with disabilities policy and is expected to be completed near the end of 2023. I also talked to David Stewart, the Executive Director for the Facility Services at KPU, about how the university has made a number of changes to improving accessibility at its campuses, like upgrading elevators or adding wheelchair ramps. While talking to KPU, I also talked to Students with Disabilities Rep Leslie Senga and the Quallen Student Association Secretary Jeremy Law about what the KSA is doing to help improve accessibility on campus.
So on May 9, 2022, it was announced that students at KPU can now start holding events on campus, and students can send their requests for their proposed event 4 weeks before the event date. So student event is described by KPU as events that aren't arranged by KPU, whether faculty, KPU department, or external organization. In order for students to be permitted to carry on with their event, they need to receive approval from the student services. So this 4-week request date is a rule that's always been in place, but now, according to Benjamin Newsome, KSA Executive Director, it will now be strictly enforced.
This culture article was written by Shayna Garces. Bard on the Beach is returning for its 33rd season after a 2-year pause due to the pandemic. The Professional Shakespeare Festival features plays in Vanier Park under performance tents that incorporate Vancouver's mountains and sea as a natural backdrop. Bard on the Beach's creative director, Christopher Gaze, says everyone is thrilled to be back. Most actors were able to find work somewhere else during the pandemic, like in cartoon and radio shows, yet those who made their living in the theater were still impacted. COVID has also affected how the theater conducts its plays moving forward, with employing understudies for actors now being a must. In the years before the pandemic, over 100,000 people attended plays at Bard on the Beach in a 4-month season. Midsummer's Night Dream, Harlem Duet, and Romeo and Juliet are the 3 plays coming to the stage this year, and Gaze hopes the audience will come filing in, forming the big crowds he frequently saw pre-COVID.
Spain has been making headlines about their progressive policies about women's health and safety, and one of the recently proposed reform bills grants paid menstrual leave for women who suffer severe period pains. This legislation, which awaits final decision from the parliament, entitles women who suffer severe pains in their first 3 days of menstruation to take some days off work with pay in which the government will shoulder. Under this, it is made clear that a diagnosis of severe menstrual pain or a temporary medical incapacity should be approved by a doctor to be considered for the leave. Countries like Japan, South Korea, Zambia, and Indonesia already has a menstrual leave policy in place. This is a first among European countries to seek approval of such policy. And in my opinion, countries like Canada and the US should take a look at Spain's progressivity and learn more about it.
This column article was written by Kyler Emerson. KPU textile design instructor Stephanie Phillips was recently appointed the second of 2 created Sherman Gen Research Chair positions. As chair of the Next Generation Design, she will focus on biodegradable materials and explore how enhanced natural materials that remain recyclable can be used in the apparel industry. Phillips says this has been a research interest of hers for a long time, and this position provided an opportunity to expand it from individual products to working with students in classes. Starting this fall semester, students will have the opportunity to engage with the research through external companies with specific problems and faculty-led extracurricular projects. Phillips says it's important to look at all the possible ways to create sustainable materials and hopes students will get engaged with such through her research projects.